Hello and welcome. Welcome back to the studios of the Agile Mastery Academy, and welcome back to our podcast, one in a whole series of podcasts that we are doing on extreme agile, a term coined by Jeff Sutherland, co-founder of Scrum. So what we have in our series here is we have two of our key analysts, research analysts, Alex and Melissa, talking through what they have discovered, and then we'll move on to the next podcast after that. So this is a continuing series. So with that, thank you for spending time with us, and we look forward to seeing you in the podcast and then continuing with the other podcasts. Thank you.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we have something pretty wild to get into.
We really do.
We're talking about the world of Agile and Scrum, because one of the original giants of that movement has made a claim that is, well, it's so bold.
It is.
It's either the greatest insight we've seen in decades or, I don't know, just pure marketing madness. Okay, let's unpack this.
We absolutely must. The giant is Jeff Sutherland, the co-creator of Scrum. And his claim isn't, that teams can get a little more efficient or even 30% faster.
Yeah.
He is predicting that teams using AI within Scrum can become, and you need to brace yourself for this, 30 times faster.
30 times. Not percent. Times. I mean, if that number came from anyone else, you'd just dismiss it, right? It's vaporware.
No. Yeah.
But this is Sutherland. This is the man who basically wrote the rules.
Mm-hmm.
His track record kind of demands that we take this seriously.
So our mission today is pretty clear. We need to analyze this specific claim, what he calls extreme agile. We have to understand how he gets to 30x. Like, what are the exact friction points that AI is supposed to just eliminate?
And what does it mean for everyone listening? Whether you're a developer, a product owner, or a CEO, what do you need to start doing, like, today?
Exactly.
So let's start at the beginning with credibility. For anyone who's ever worked in software, or really any modern business, the name Scrum is everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Sutherland, with Ken Schreiber, they created this thing back in the early 90s.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't just comment on the industry. He literally built the playing field.
And it's so important to remember how revolutionary Scrum was back then. The standard was this rigid waterfall method.
Oh, the waterfall. Years of planning.
Years of planning, all perfect on paper, and then you deliver a product that's already obsolete the day it launches. It was just so slow and wasteful.
So Scrum was the antidote to that.
It completely flipped the script. Scrum said, no, you have to work in these short focus cycles, sprints.
The 2-week sprints, right?
But the real genius, I think, was the requirement to deliver a tangible working piece of software every couple of weeks. It forces you to stop hiding behind long plans and, face reality.
So instead of finding out 2 years down the road that your big feature is a dud, you find out in 2 weeks.
Exactly. And that whole fast feedback loop, it's built on those 3 pillars: transparency, inspection, and adaptation. You're always learning, always adjusting.
And that's why it spread beyond just software, right?
Mm-hmm.
Into marketing nonprofits.
Because it's a fundamental system for learning and optimizing. It just works.
So after all that, after changing how the world builds things, Sutherland isn't satisfied. He wants to, I don't know, strap a rocket to it.
Yeah.
Which brings us to this statement he made in early 2025.
Yeah, he didn't pull any punches. The quote that just reset the whole conversation was, I'm trying to take Scrum and move it to at least 30 times faster with AI. We're moving into a world I'm calling extreme agile.
And he didn't just drop that number. He gave a deadline with it, a call to action.
A hard deadline. He stressed that CEOs need to bring in Scrum-trained AI people immediately if they want to get to this extreme agile place before 2030.
Wow.
The subtext is clear. It's not just that you should start. It's that if you wait, you're going to be left so far behind, you'll never catch up.
Okay. This is where we have to get critical. 30 times faster is...
That's right.
It's an astronomical number. I can maybe see AI making coding, say, 5 times faster.
Sure.
But the whole system, it just feels like a multiplication error. How do you even measure 30x? Is this just marketing hype?
That is exactly the right question to ask. Because you're right, speeding up one part of a machine doesn't speed up the whole thing.
You just create a new bottleneck somewhere else.
Precisely. You can code 30 times faster, but if your testing or your meetings stay the same speed, you've achieved nothing. Sutherland's whole insight is that he knows exactly where that systemic friction is.
So it's not about writing 30 times more code. It's about removing the organizational drag 30 times more effectively.
That's it. If you look at a typical team, the time lost is almost never about how fast someone can type.
Right.
It's in the handoffs, the debates, the dependencies, the misunderstandings, all the administrative junk. Extreme Agile is about speeding up all of those processes at the same time.
So the acceleration compounds. It's multiplicative, not additive.
Yes. Sutherland has basically zeroed in on the 5 biggest time sinks that plague even really good Scrum teams. These are the spots where hours of human energy get burned up every single sprint.
Okay, let's walk through them. This is where the 30x claim lives or dies. The first area he calls out is backlog refinement.
Backlog refinement. Anyone who's been in a 4-hour refinement meeting knows the pain.
Oh, I know the pain.
Uh-huh.
80% of it is just arguing about wording.
Exactly. Arguing about acceptance criteria, trying to figure out dependencies. It's a massive cognitive load on the whole team. With AI, though, the system can structure the user stories, it can suggest acceptance criteria based on past work, and it can flag dependencies automatically.
So the prep work is done before the humans even walk in the room.
Right. The source material suggests a potential 10x boost just for that one activity. A 4-hour meeting becomes a 30-minute decision-making session. Think about that. You've just saved hours of your most expensive people's time.
Okay, so that's planning. What about the actual coding? That takes us to development cycles, where he suggests a 5x boost.
This is the AI pair programming piece. Developers spend so much time on boilerplate code, setting up infrastructure, writing routine stuff.
The grunt work.
The AI just handles that instantly. The human developer is then free to focus entirely on the hard stuff. The complex business logic, the system architecture, applying their actual judgment. You're amplifying their best skills by 5 times.
Then comes the quality check, testing, which is famously tedious and time-consuming.
And it's always the first thing to get cut when a deadline looms.
Always.
So AI-powered test generation can create comprehensive coverage in hours for what used to take days. It finds edge cases humans forget. By making tests faster to write and run, the whole cycle just accelerates. He estimates that at a pretty conservative 4x boost.
All right, number 4 is something everybody hates. Documentation. Release notes. API specs. They always get left to the last minute.
It's a huge documentation debt, and the pain is the context switching. A developer has to stop being an engineer and start being a technical writer.
Right.
AI just eliminates that. It pulls directly from the backlog, from the code changes, and it generates the release notes and specs almost automatically. This is the biggest multiplier. He estimates a 20x boost here. The system is just narrating what the team already built.
Okay, and the last one is the overhead of the Scrum events and administration, the meetings themselves.
Yeah, think about all the time lost in sprint planning or retrospectives, just trying to remember who said what.
Or tracking action items.
AI handles the transcription, the summarizing, tracking the action items, all of it live. That frees up the Scrum Master and the team to actually focus. It makes meetings shorter and way more effective. That's a 3x boost to administrative efficiency.
Okay, so let's put the pieces together. We've got 10x on refinement, 5x on development, 4x on testing, a huge 20x on documentation, and 3x on admin. But wait, if you just multiply those, you get a gigantic number. That doesn't add up to 30x.
That's the key confusion. It's not that simple. You don't just multiply them in a vacuum. There are compounding improvements, but the whole system has its own friction.
Okay.
Think of it like this. If you save, say, 90 hours on refinement and documentation, that's 90 hours your developers now have to immediately cycle back into writing high-value code. The waits, the queues between steps, they start to disappear.
So the 30x is the, let's say, the realized net result of all these compounding gains after you account for real-world friction and human learning curves.
Exactly. It's the systemic velocity increase. If you can actually fix those 5 points, the system just moves fundamentally faster because it's fundamentally less wasteful.
It makes the mechanics of it sound plausible, at least. But the other part of his claim was the urgency. He said, you're not going to get there unless you start today. Why the panic? Why not wait 6 months?
Because this isn't theoretical anymore. The competitive landscape is already miles ahead. Major tech companies are already doing this at scale.
So they're not waiting for some perfect tool to arrive.
No, they're integrating the tools they have now. Look at the giants. Microsoft has AI assistants embedded right into Azure DevOps. Amazon uses machine learning for workload forecasting and backlog analysis. Google uses AI for code review and to spot bottlenecks a human might miss.
So while a smaller company is still debating which chatbot to use, the big players are deploying specialized AI that's basically an integrated team member.
Absolutely. And the risk here is huge. The gap between teams that adopt this and teams that don't is going to widen so fast. It's like what happened with Agile a decade ago, but on an incredibly compressed timeline.
because AI moves faster than organizational change.
That's the quote. If you start adapting your processes today, you are already behind.
Which brings up the most critical question for everyone listening. What does this mean for our jobs? Is AI replacing the developer, the scrum master, the product owner?
The consensus seems to be that it's a redefinition of the roles, not a replacement. Knowing how to leverage AI within Scrum is becoming a core skill, just like learning Scrum itself was 15 years ago.
Okay, let's break that down. What about the product owner? Their job is deciding what to build.
Their role gets amplified. They stop wasting time writing basic user stories. Instead, they use AI analysis to prioritize faster, to validate ideas with data, to focus on the truly human parts of the job. Strategic vision, empathy, market differentiation, they go from tactical writer to strategic visionary.
And the developer. If the AI is writing all the boilerplate code,
The developer is freed from the mundane. They become system architects, integrators. They focus on the really complex business logic, security, resilience, the high-level judgment calls. Knowing how to prompt the AI, how to coach it, becomes as important as knowing a programming language.
And what about the scrum master, the coach, the facilitator, if AI is tracking action items?
They become hyper-focused on system health. They stop being administrators and become organizational therapists. The AI flags a dependency for the third time. Why is the team ignoring it? Their job is to analyze the human and organizational roadblocks that the AI makes visible.
So Extreme Agile isn't just about automation. It's about using automation to amplify the uniquely human strengths of the team.
So what does this all mean? We started with this wild number, 30x faster. But Jeff Sutherland's credibility means we have to take it seriously.
Right.
And we've seen that the speed comes from a compounding reduction of friction across those 5 key workflow stages, from refinement meetings to documentation.
And the urgency is real because the big tech companies are already doing it. The gap is widening as we speak.
Exactly. This is happening now.
It's an incredible thought. And it makes you wonder, Scrum originally spread way beyond software. So if these accelerations are real, what non-software industry, maybe marketing, maybe the legal field, will be the first to publicly claim they've hit extreme agile speeds? That's something for you to think about as you start figuring out how AI fits into your own work.
Thanks, Alex and Melissa. You did a wonderful job on that deep dive. I look forward to hearing you and what you have discovered in our next podcast. I'd just like to say to all of you, what we have is we have our a site for the Agile Academy, the Agile Learning Academy, and you'll find it with the address that you see right below me here, which is i-am-agile.com. i-am-agile.com. And go there and you'll take a look and see the latest course that we have, the course on Extreme Agile, which has just been released. You've got a lot of information there. So go take a look at it, see what you think. And if you would like to take it, then sign on, do the purchase, and we'll see you in the course. Thank you so much. We'll see you in our next episode.